All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the August 24th, 2026 meeting of the Sacramento Regional Transit Board of Directors. Tabitha, would you please take the roll and announce our Metro Cable replay statement?
Director Brewer is absent. Director Budge?
Here.
Director Dickinson? Director Hume? Here. Director Jennings? Here. Director Hume?
I'm still here.
I messed something up here. Director Kennedy? Director Rorba?
Here.
Director Schaefer?
Here.
Director Cerna?
Here.
And Chair Singh-Allen? With that, we have, and Director Brewer just arrived as well. And Director Jennings? And with that, we have a quorum of 10 votes, and this meeting of the Sacramento Regional Transit District is recorded with closed captioning. The recording will be cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the local government affairs channel, on the Comcast and DirecTV Uverse cable systems. The recording will also be video streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Thursday, August 27th at 12 p.m. and Saturday, August 29th. At 1:30 p.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. Once posted, the recording of this meeting can be viewed on demand at youtube.com/Metro Cable 14. Public comment may be given on any agenda item as it is called, and it'll be limited by the chair for all participants, including those in person, on the telephone, or on a virtual platform, to 2 minutes or less per speaker. The consent calendar, the general manager's report, and reports, ideas, and questions from directors and communication will each be treated and taken up as one unit. This means that individual comment cards for certain reports in each unit will not be accepted, and speakers are only allowed 2 minutes total. As an example, the consent calendar and agenda items 2.1 to 2.9 is treated as one unit, and speakers will be able to speak on the entire consent calendar, specific items on it, for a total of 2 minutes. In-person public comment will be taken first, followed by those participating by Zoom or phone. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker card located at the rear of the room and provide it to myself or Adam. Once the item has been called, additional speaker cards will not be accepted. If you're participating by Zoom, raise your digital hand, and if you're participating by phone, press *9 when the agenda item you wish to comment on is called. When the clerk calls your name or the last 4 digits of your phone number, please unmute yourself to speak and voluntarily state your name for the record. There was no written public comment received for this meeting.
All right, thank you. Next up is our Pledge of Allegiance. Director Jennings, would you please lead us?
My pleasure. Please stand if you are able. Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. So there's been a request to change the order of the agenda to hear item 3.1 first, so we will go ahead and accomplish that here. So with that, we are looking for Ms. Valentin, who is going to be presenting this item. Excellent.
Thank you, Chair Singh-Allen. Good afternoon. Shelley Valentin, Deputy CEO, and we have a packed room today. We are so excited to introduce you to some amazing SACRT employees. So today, we've been doing this now for about 1.5 years, so I think you're familiar. But today we will be recognizing certain people. One will be our employees with 20 years and more of years of service to SACRT. That's the first one. The second will be our recent retirees. And finally will be our employees of the quarter for 2 quarters, from January to March and April to June of this year. We are so happy to say that we have several family members who are here, so we would love to introduce them to our board as well if they are willing. So we're going to start with our Years of Service Award. If I could please have Directors Chair Singh-Allen, Vice Chair Pat Hume, and Henry to come up to the front. We'll take a quick picture. As I call your name, if you're here, please come up. And then if you'd like your family member to have the picture with you, we'd love to have that too. And then please stay on the side and we'll have a group picture for your category later on. Sounds good? Okay, perfect. So we will begin. Our employees with at least 20 years of service, please give them a round of applause. And here with us today is our Senior VP of Operations, Blanca Arrojo, 20 years. She started when she was 10, I think. Thank you, Blanca. If you could stay on the left side, and we'll take a group picture after. Next is James Drake, Senior Manager of Service Planning. Yes, maybe 8. Thank you. And then Joseph Gamble, Light Rail Transportation Supervisor. Congrats. And then we have Alicia Guidi Rule. I hope I said it right. Alicia. 20 years also. Congratulations. And now our 25, 30, and 35 years of service awardee. Again, please give them a round of applause. They well deserve it. And again, if you have family members who'd love a picture with our board and our CEO, please come on up with them. Here today is Crystal Contreras, Customer Service Representative, 25 years. And then we have Vince Beatty, our AVP of Operations. And then we move on. Please stay there. We will have our 2 retirees also right here. Oh, sorry, Vince. 35 years, is it? 30. Amazing. He's not here, but I'd like to specially recognize Curtis, who's been here 35 years also. That's amazing. Okay, and then we're moving on to our retirees. These are our retirees with 20 years, and we'll combine them with a picture of our years of service. Thank you. 20 years and more of service. Please give them a round of applause. Newly retired employees. 2 of them came back to receive this recognition. Thank you for taking a break from your vacation. Russell Dvorak, Schedule Analyst for 24 years. And finally, David Tang, Light Rail Vehicle Technician, 20 years. Great. If you could please huddle for a nice group picture. Thank you so much. We still need you, Chair and Vice Chair and Henry, for our employees of the quarter. Yes, please. Sorry. Okay. So now we're moving on to our employees of the quarter. And again, these are for 2 quarters. We have 2 sets of winners, starting with our January to March quarter winners. And I'm going to start with Lisa, who will introduce our administrative staff employee of the quarter, Holly Martinez.
There's so much I could say about Holly. She's absolutely amazing. She has a small but mighty team of 3 additional staff members, but she has really made a change in our customer advocacy division in that she holds her staff accountable and makes sure that all of our customers are taken care of. And her team is responsible for answering all the hard calls akin to a 911 dispatcher. And her record keeping is fantastic. It just gets better and better. And we just had a talk last week about how she's going to even elevate that even further and do quarterly analysis and annual analysis. So I can't be thankful enough for Holly as the Customer Advocacy Supervisor, Employee of the Quarter.
Congrats. If you could, Lisa and please join them too for the picture. Thank you. All right, Lisa's still on for our operational support employee of the quarter, Thomas Perkins.
Thomas is still obviously working with SACRT, but he has been with us for 26 years. And he has a very hard job. Thomas is one of 5 people that keep our light rail stations clean. And that is a massive amount of work. And he is the guy. He is the guy that we go to, our supervisor team goes to for assistance. We recently had a situation where we needed to build really strong relationships quickly with the Indian tribe, and that was what Tom was able to do. The list of his accomplishments are many, but the bottom line is we are lucky to have you. Congratulations on Employee of the Quarter.
Congratulations again. And for our operators, our drivers, Herman Hernandez, paratransit bus operator.
Herman Hernandez, he's an operator trainee for SACRT Go, providing services to our paratransit operators. He has helped drastically in this last quarter by providing great support to all the new operators that were being hired, but also to everybody that is working there. He's always providing the help to ensure that we're providing a safe and reliable transportation to our passengers. Thank you, Herman.
Okay, and finally for this quarter, the first quarter, we introduced a new category of middle management staff, and our first winner is Benjamin Thomas, our facilities superintendent.
You guys heard it right. We had to create a whole new classification to give this well-deserved employee of the quarter. So Ben is our first employee of the quarter for this category. Ben took over the facilities department when we really needed a shakeup. We needed to improve morale. We needed to improve our systems, our processes. And Ben has done nothing but soar. And most of all, he's just a nice guy. And we all want to work with him. So congratulations, Ben, employee of the quarter. Very well deserved.
Not yet, I'm sorry. This is our final set of awards, our second quarter. We only do this every 6 months, so please bear with us. It will be a few more. Okay, so for the second quarter of this calendar year, April to June, if I'm counting it right, we have 4 winners. We are going to start with our administrative staff. And here today is Adam Guzman.
It gives me great pleasure to recognize Adam Guzman as Administrative Employee of the Quarter. Adam is an exceptional example of dedication and professionalism and teamwork. Adam recently moved from finance to procurement, with staff in both departments and colleagues across the agency strongly supporting his nomination. Since transitioning to the senior clerk procurement position in January, Adam continued to assist with the responsibility of senior clerk accounts payable while training for his new role. He successfully managed most of the significant needs of both positions throughout the quarter, ensuring critical functions continued seamlessly. Rather than leaving work for colleagues or his replacement, Adam remained fully committed to completing his responsibilities with accuracy and efficiency. This persistence and attention to detail were critical to the success of several SAC-RT projects. Multiple departments independently praised Adam's professionalism, responsiveness, and collaborative spirit. This speaks volumes about the respect he has earned. So it is my honor and privilege to present Adam Guzman as Administrative Employee of the Quarter.
For the category of operational support, Don White, Mechanic A.
Okay, we're pleased to recognize Don White from our light rail maintenance department. Since moving into the Mechanic A position in April, Don has made a significant impact by helping reduce our backlog of non-revenue vehicles and getting vehicles back into service faster. And he has also worked, his work has helped us reduce some of the needs to go to get any repairs on in the outside by saving money and time. So thank you, Don, for your positive attitude, teamwork, and commitment. We're very proud to have you, and keep up the good work.
Congrats. And the final one, last but not the least, I have the pleasure of giving you this one. Oh, I'm sorry. Before that, Terry is not here, but we'd like to recognize him also, our operator from the Elk Grove service side. Congrats, Terry. I think he's on vacation, so he's not able to. So this is the final award for sure. Our management staff awardee is Isis Humphrey. Well, you can tell from the applause that she is truly deserving of this award. Isis Humphrey is our Training and Workforce Development Manager. She developed our Training and Workforce Development Program from the ground up. You've already met her small and mighty team of two. Esteban Gonzalez was an Employee of the Quarter last year. She's our in-house professional development advisor. She has created engaging events like an educational resource fair, team building activities for so many of us here. And actually this week, she is launching our first ever employee summit, which will bring employees together to network, learn, and connect. This quarter, she also organized a special training program for our supervisory unit. One of the favorite programs that among the many that she's developed is the Preparing for the Big Day program, where she really helped prepare our employees for promotional activities and opportunities, including practicing with them for interviewing. And that has really worked wonders for many of our employees. Isis just embodies professionalism and our core values. She's touched probably every single department at SAC-RT with her warm and caring presence and deep desire to help our employees reach their full career potential. I'm so proud of Isis, and congratulations. Okay, let's take a group picture, and that will be the end of our presentations. Thank you so much, and that concludes our presentation. Thank you to all the family members who took the time to also be here today.
We'll move on here in a few seconds. Where is Tabitha? Okay, there she is. It's a little warm in here.
I know you were warm standing up there.
I know, I'm like, oh. All right, we're going to continue on in the meeting. Are there any public comments on 3.1?
We have Helen O'Connell.
Let's just wait a few more seconds as we clear the room.
Thank you.
Can we get a microphone to Helen?
After that, yep. Good evening, Board. I am very proud that RT has continued to acknowledge people that have served the company well. And I applaud the people that have been putting their heads together and making sure that everyone that deserves to be recognized is done well. And thank you for stepping up and acknowledging everyone else that does the boots on the ground job. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others?
There's no other public comment.
Any online?
There's none online.
Okay, very good. Next up is our consent calendar items, 2.1 through 2.9. Are there any director questions on consent? Hearing none, we will take public comment on consent.
We have Helen O'Connell.
Microphone. There we go.
Good evening, Board. I am aware of the new policy, so I'm going to go as quickly as possible. 2.6, replacement of substations. Since 1980, they've been working well, but they do need an upgrade, so thank you very much for that. 2.7, the real estate being procured was something that we've been renting since 2007. I think this purchase will be a very good asset for RT Go and RT and everyone else that works there. 2.8, 49 natural gas buses, the Gillig 40-foot low floor. We always need new buses to replace the ones that are breaking down, which helps us get to our on-time performance. Thank you very much.
Next public comment.
That's all the public comment, and there's no public comment online either.
All right, are there any comments on consent? If not, I will look for a motion.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. All right, let's see. Next item, 4.1. Resolution 2026-08-110, adopting the Sacramento Regional Transit District Strategic Plan 2026 through 2030.
Thank you. I'm back, Shelley Valentin, Deputy CEO. And last meeting, we have presented to the board our proposed 5-year strategic plan, and we really appreciate all of the feedback that we've received at that time. We took them all to heart. We evaluated our current draft and made sure that all of those feedback are incorporated into the plan that we are presenting with revisions to you tonight. I'm just going to do a very quick review of the changes that we've made to respond to some of the board member comments. Okay, so just as a quick summary, give me 1 second. So there were four main themes on the feedback that we received from the board. The first one is ensuring that fiscal sustainability is front and center in the plan documents that we have. A greater emphasis on innovative services, and especially last mile and first mile connection, stating service frequency as one of the goals. And then fourth is further alignment with SACRT's goals regarding equity and our desire to meet the needs of those in historically disadvantaged and underserved communities, in summary. And the good news is most of these strategic goals are embedded in the document, but we really could have done a better job making sure that they are highlighted. So that's what we've done in this new version of it. For the first one on fiscal sustainability, fiscal sustainability really is woven throughout the document, especially in the introduction and the executive summary. We revised that further to have a very specific statement about our goal on long-term sustainability and managing the fiscal cliff. These are all included in the operational excellence strategic goal. You will see on that lower left-hand side there are the new ones that will guide our annual work plan. These are stated as reinforcing fiscal responsibility and budget adherence, as well as guiding our annual work plan through tactics that support them. And these are all, again, mentioned in the executive summary, in the GM report. And then I want to highlight for you the metrics that we include in those quarterly scorecards that we prepare for the board. You will see in this sheet that at least 13 out of the 29 total metrics that we have that make it to the scorecard are regarding or directly tied to sustainability and fiscal management. And as an examples, we have here in the sheet budget to actual figures, cost per vehicle revenue hour, mean distance between failures, ridership, fare evasion rates, collision per 100,000, all are directly related to fiscal sustainability and management. And based on the feedback, we also added specific annual goals and tactics tied to meeting budget targets, as well as cost-saving initiatives that start at the department level and goes all the way to agency-wide initiatives. And then listed here on the sheet are those specific metrics, and then how we are presenting them as part of the new scorecard that we have revised as well. In the area of innovative services and equity, we are restating our commitment to innovation, including, as mentioned, the first mile and last mile programs, and equity is also highlighted throughout the document. We also further clarified that those plans and specific details for equity are in reference documents, such as our Title VI reports and analysis, our short-range and long-range plans. And again, those are referenced both in the strategic plan document itself, but also in the tactic documents that we have. The additional comment on frequency is already included, but we again included tactics that we are measuring quarterly in regard to that. So this chart here will just illustrate for you how we are actually collecting all of those data and using them to report on a quarterly basis in that tactical level. So these examples that you show here are specifically tied to those four feedback that we received from the board. But again, these are just 4 of the hundreds of tactical documents that we have that support the plan. It's updated annually, it's measured quarterly, and reported to the board through that one-page scorecard that you receive. So these ones here include fiscal sustainability, service innovation, equity and disadvantaged communities, and listed in those examples are the specific tactical programs for per quarter that we will do as a commitment to meeting those goals. And again, there are numbers assigned to those goals, and that becomes part of our scorecard. So I hope that captures most of the comments that we've received. The strategic plan will remain to be a living and breathing document that will be our guiding vision for measuring our growth and success. We are committed to making this, again, an active document and will be used for making all of our fiscal and management decisions at SACRT. And with that, I'm requesting for consideration for the board to approve our new 5-year strategic plan, and thank you for all of the feedback once again.
Excellent. Thank you for your presentation. At this time, I'll open it up for director questions. Director Dickinson.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, Shelley, for the presentation. You made reference several times to a document. The last meeting, this meeting, when I looked at what was included in the agenda item online, there was no document. There was just a presentation you've given, for example, just now. So how can we or members of the public access the actual document that is the strategic plan?
I apologize for that. It should be attached to the staff report for the item because it's referenced in the resolution. So I believe it's a 12-page document.
Unless I missed it, I didn't see it attached.
Adam, are you able to pull up that document just so we could have it shown? And then in addition to that, while they're looking it up, I would also like to say that, again, this is on the website, and then there's the tactical documents that we use for tracking all of this. It changes every quarter, so we don't show it to the board for approval. And then in addition, annually for the GM's performance review, the annual goals are also included.
Wait a minute, maybe I'm under a misapprehension. So that is the document, that's the entirety of the document?
Yes.
That is the framework document that we use as a guiding principle
Okay,
for
all right.
developing the annual document. Thank you.
Okay, I thought, frankly, there was a lot more substance to this than,
Yes, the substance,
presented
yes.
here.
We have substance and we have, as I described, like hundreds and hundreds of tactical documents. We'd love to show it to you if you're interested, but we don't have the board approve all of the tactical documents because it changes every year based on the goals, but all of them are anchored on the strategic plan, pillars and goals that we have in the 5-year plan.
I would make the observation that if you're particularly a member of the public, let alone a member of the board, and you wondered what the strategic plan is for the next 5 years, if this is what you're presented with, you're left really with the generalities of what the plan presumably contains with reference to those other documents that are the source documents. And so I'm just unfamiliar with this, I have to say, with this form of presentation. I would have expected from past experience, there's a document that is the strategic plan in detail, rather than essentially the overview of it that then relies on other source documents. So I gather I've just operated under a misapprehension about what this document is supposed to be. Let me just ask one other question. In any of the source documents, because it's not in this one, was there a 5-year financial projection done as part of the as a constituent element of the strategic plan?
So the strategic plan serves as the guide in developing the annual budget, which the budget itself also references the strategic plan and embedded into that report. So you will see that updated annually.
Okay, I appreciate that. My question is, if not in this document, where can a member of this board or a member of the public go to see, for example, a 5-year projection of the financial condition and expectations of the district? Is there anywhere?
Yes, there are different documents. So let me give you a few. So what we do annually is, so we have the 5-year strategic plan, right? And that's our Bible, if you will. Based on that strategic plan, we have our annual financial report and budget. The financial report shows that projection for the year, but it also, again, references back to the strategic plan goals and the 4 pillars. That's one. The second would be our long-range plan, and then the short-range transit plan, and then the Title VI analysis. That combines them all together. We have a website that shows all of those documents in one place. And then every quarter, we report that to the board. We have been reporting this for the last 5 years now. That includes the scorecard document that shows all of the performance based on that strategic plan metrics. That's one. And then every year, when we have the performance review documents for the GM review, we have all of that tied together, starting with the strategic plan metrics, how that's tied to the goals, and then what are the goals for the next year for the GM based on those 5-year strategic plan.
Okay,
if
well,
that
I
makes
get that.
sense.
Exclude the last, because that's the GM evaluation and review. Can you, following this meeting, forward to me a document which shows a 5-year projection of the revenues and expenditures of the district?
Sure. Jason is giving me the thumbs up. We have that document ready and available.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, and I think that was really your question.
That was really my question.
Is that available
Yes.
to board members and the public?
Madam Chair, yeah, we did that
Easy
presentation.
to understand labeled 5-year projections.
Yeah, we did that presentation about the March timeframe, before we developed, this new fiscal year's budget. Yeah. Director Dickinson, your feedback is very important. And today, or actually when we ask for the board approval for the strategic plan 5 years, is normally it's just a framework. And the details every year, those will change. Even 5 years, plan will change. But, I think we probably did not at the beginning make that very clear. Hey, this is ask board to approve overall strategic plan, and the details will be involving documents, year by year. And then, what type of subset of those documents, like you mentioned 5 years financial projection. That is part of, or that's a major part of the document, right? So we will try to put all those together in the website. Then people can look at this is the whole document. Lots of time, the budget actually includes all of those annual budget. But again, we get your point.
Maybe it was presented. I don't recall us seeing a 5-year projection in the consideration of the budget.
Yeah.
So if it was presented and I've simply forgotten it or overlooked it, I apologize. But I do think that we should try to make these essential elements as easy to find for the public as possible. Anybody who wants to know how does it look for this district financially over the next 5 years, for example, ought to be able to find that easily on the website or otherwise, just as an example. So I think that one is particularly important because the financial future is very actually uncertain, and so what we're counting on or expecting becomes even more crucial for the public to know what of those elements of the strategic plan are you likely to actually be able to accomplish. Yes.
Right.
So,
thank you for that great
thank you,
feedback.
Chair.
I want to just add quickly that we will make sure to have them all. We have right now a strategic plan page on the website that includes all of those documents that are available. We'll provide you a copy of that financial piece of the document. And the last comment I want to make is it's actually amazing how we've gotten to a point where the financial projection document is no longer a siloed document. It references the strategic plan. There's really an alignment between the two, and everything and the decisions that are included in that plan is all based on the strategic plan. So they're connected living documents, but as Henry said, it's going to be updated based on current financial situations.
Does that satisfy? Okay. I appreciate Director Dickinson's comments. I do think that we need to have this kind of data, reports, readily available and easy to manage, where it's not, it doesn't take, cross tabs and referencing here and there to try to create your own report. One report, strategic plan, this is what it is. 5-year projection, this is what it is. And of course, I think with the understanding, just a caveat in there, that it changes. It gets updated and revised. But as of today's snapshot, it should be available. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other director questions? Looking to the left. All right, seeing none, we will go on to our public comments then.
Okay, we have two in person, Michael Bevins and then L.R. Roberts.
Hello, Board. Michael Evans, a member of Strong Sac Town locally. I'm a total amateur about financial stuff, but I just, if you will, I was looking at my window and I'm seeing bad signs everywhere. The Sacramento City School District is about to be under receivership. They're professionals. They had a forecast. I guess they didn't see it. The federal deficit is beyond my understanding. The county can't afford to pave all the pavement, even if they wanted to get it up to par, they don't have the taxes to do it. They have to raise taxes, so there's a hole there. The city council just passed, Sacramento City Council just passed the budget, which was decent, I guess. It was kind of deficit spending or structural deficit, I think it was told. And we solved it this year, but it's going to come again next year. So it seems like the only question I have for this financial document is, are you sure? Is it going to be 5 years solvent? And if not, which federal government could just say, we're not funding stuff for public transit anymore. Are you able to adjust your 5-year plan to, break it down accordingly throughout the district? Not one district gets better service than the other. Just as an amateur, I'm just out there asking questions, and I just looking out and I see things falling apart everywhere. High-speed rail, remember that? 2003. I think I was a young man back then, voted for it. Now it's 10 times more than what it was, but they had projections then. So I don't question SAC-RT's financial disclosures. I've had many reports saying we know where there's a little deficit, we've got plans to fix it. So I'm not upset or thinking, I just looking out around, I'm just like, okay, can you double check your work, please? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next public comment.
I agree with this, L.R. Roberts. I agree with Roger about the detail. Please send it to me too. You have my email. The plan seems good. I've used RT since being a student at CSUS, traveling from South Oak Park in the middle 1970s. I so much prefer that the meetings are nicer and more welcoming. I am unhappy that the stop on 33rd Street is gone. We in Dogfight are concerned about the grand jury report. Certainly earlier input into equipment from the disabled people is required. We need a stop near the two clinics, near the Costco Cal Expo. Currently, many stops are too far apart for elderly, mobility limited people like me. Smoking at stops make them unusable for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Okay, next we have Rick Hodgkins online.
Okay, I'm just going to say ditto to what everyone else has said before. RT, I'm very happy, is doing great financially. I'm not going to comment on the grand jury report because I've heard both sides of it, but I will say that I will say ditto to everything else. So thank you.
Thank you. Any more?
That's all the public comment.
All right, thank you for that. Any follow-up director comments? Looking to the right, seeing none, left, none. All right, then looking for a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you. I don't see any abstentions. All right, let's see. Going on to the next item, 5, public addresses board on matters not on the agenda. Let's go ahead and open up public comment.
Okay, we have Helen O'Connell, and then Maddie Parfit, Kay Crum.
Hello, board. I am a little concerned about the new rules about what we can talk about, how many minutes we get for each item. We've been cut back from 2 meetings a month to 1 meeting a month. That cuts down our public comment time. I think it should still remain at the way it was because we only get once a month. So that's already limiting us. I heard the comment that it's the way the rest of the government works. I get it, but the rest of the government has more than one meeting a month, as far as I understand it. I also want to thank everybody for item 2.8, the Mobility Advisory Council Board is to be consulted before finalizing the contract with the 49 buses. That is a big step forward, that we do it before you finalize the reports. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Maddie Parfit.
Is that on? Is it on now? Okay. I'm Maddie Parfit with Strong Sacktown's transit team. A man came up to me while I was waiting for a train recently, and he asked me to help him understand a long strip of paper he was holding. It was a citation. He showed me his ticket, which had expired about a half hour earlier. The man couldn't read or understand the citation. He asked me, "What does this say? What does it mean?" He told me the transit ambassador had been mean to him. He said he apologized, but the ambassador just gave him the paper and kicked him off the train. He was scared. He was worried about going to court, and he was afraid his parents would be mad at him. It only took me about 30 seconds of talking with him for me to realize this man probably had an intellectual delay or a learning disability. Why didn't your highly trained transit ambassador recognize this? Why did the TA show such callous disregard toward a passenger who clearly needed help? Is this the type of customer service you want RT to be known for? RT's strategic plan states that its values include respect, trust, and excellence. Please live up to these values. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Kay Crum, and then Michael Bevins, and Jeffrey Tartagia, and then Troy Wilkinson. And
Hi, I'm Kay Crum from Strong Sacktown, the transit team. My stop to get home is at 7th and Q Street, so it's just right down the street. And when I went there last week or the week before, the shelter was gone, the sign was gone, everything was gone, and I thought the stop wasn't there anymore, so I waited around to see if bus 51 came. They picked me up. I talked to the bus driver. He's like, no, it's still a stop, but there's nothing there indicating that it's a stop at this point. So I was very concerned. I panicked for a good 5 minutes, is my bus gonna come? I don't know what the plans are there because I haven't been able to find out anything about that particular stop. But during the summer, it's very hot and it's right next to a parking lot, so there's no shade. There's kind of a tree that's next to the stop, but it's a little far out, so maybe the bus driver won't see me. And then there's some palm trees which don't provide shade. And in the winter, it gets very cold and rainy there, so having a shelter is excellent. So my hope is, seeing that new concrete pad, that you guys are gonna make a bigger, better, more amazing shelter there with better seating. I would love that. My worry is that it was taken away because sometimes homeless people would stay there. So I just wanna make sure that this is a stop that people use, and sometimes it is inconvenient to have homeless people at the shelters and using them and whatnot. I understand that. But also, it's not a good look for your customers if you have to sit out in the sun or in the rain or in the cold wind, because sometimes the wind gets bad here. I'm going to keep taking SAC-RT and keep taking my bus, but it's just one more reason that I'm thinking maybe I should get a car instead.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Michael Bevins, and then Jeffrey Tartagia, Troy Wilkinson, Faramez Nabavi.
Hello again, board. Michael Bevins, if it matters, City District 2 is where I live, but I'm a member of Strong Sacktown, and part of the transit team. I got two things I want to talk about today right now, but the first one is, in case you haven't known, Strongtown's a national committee is coming to Sacramento sometime between June, or they're coming next year. It's a convention. And I would like to put my suggestion to the board and to the staff of maybe how you've handled conventions in the past, where maybe we would like to, with the national team, talk about them instead of having a convention right downtown, or in addition to that, to actually use transit to go maybe someplace else so we can experience city growth, city sustainability outside the downtown walking area, maybe someplace less successful. So just want to throw out ideas. If you could contact with them, I'm sure we'll get in touch with you of what we could do, what you have done in the past with other conventions that came to town. Maybe it's a tour bus. We're going to have a lot of people from all over the country, all over the continent, and probably from around the world. So it might be a good light for SAC-RT to be part of that convention, and we can demonstrate good and, like always, the bad of everything we do. The other thing I want to talk about is shade. I didn't make the last meeting because I was busy at work, but before that, I was driving down Globe Avenue. I think you guys just redid that thing. And I saw a guy sitting on the bench underneath the shade, but just totally bathed in sun because the shade that is there is so small, it's like a joke. And I got to run out of time. But my question is, you redid the whole thing. Was it not considering, can we just cover the whole platform? Cover it. Shade. You get better shade at a gas station when you're pumping gas. If you're sitting out there in the sun, and it's at an angle, the shade up above does you no good. I mean, we know where the sun comes. Can we put shade so you're out of the sun when you're actually sitting in the Globe Avenue station? Thanks.
Thank you for your comments. Next comment.
Jeffrey Tartagia.
Well, you haven't seen me for a while. I listen to what's being said, and Roger, I do agree with you. One of the things I think would be a good document with this is what is 2030 going to look like? Because there's a lot of projects that RT has got going, and one of them on my mind right now is with you and, I'm trying to think of our former Board of Supervisors down there in Galt area. Name eludes me at the moment. Yes, one of the things that I brought to his attention was that the Watt I-80, you were running a lot of bus bridges at the time, and you weren't documenting them. So it took a while for you to realize how many millions of dollars were being spent that really weren't improving. They were just an ongoing expense that you were treating. So that's a question I have for you to consider and why I didn't, because you hadn't yet adopted 4.1 as a resolution. But for the future, I think it would be helpful to turn around what does 2030 look like with RT. You're about to spend some time and effort on the Roseville Road, but you've got other considerations going on there. But I think that one of the other things that is important for you to consider as a board is how are you going to support all of these efforts? And I don't see enough effort going on being made to that directive. Lastly, I will say to you is you are using bus bridges extensively for construction, disruptions, and other things. I don't see a line item with that, any indication. And dividing those, separating those out. I think it's something that's worthwhile to you to find out what is by construction, what is by disruption. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next public comment.
Troy Wilkinson.
Hey, I'm right here. Hey, Ward. Pleasure to see you again this month. Thank you. I want to just echo sentiment that's positive about the employee recognitions. I think that's great. I think it's amazing to have a organization that people feel proud of and proud to work for 35 years at. I think that's rare and rare these days, so props for doing that. And additionally, I think Roger's question, amazing. I think it's very useful, obviously, to all of us as the public to have that information accessible because a lot of times we dig and dig for information that should be easy to find, yet sometimes is not. What I wanted to follow up on was a previous response to a public comment that I think many of us had raised about transit ambassadors and how they maybe were being a little less tolerant of errors on the policy side from riders. I think there was a committee or something that was formed to look at policy changes, how to adapt to that. If that's true, if my memory serves correct, which I believe it does. I'm not sure if it was disclosed who is on that committee or what progress has been made or what's being taken into account. I think from our perspective, even though a previous comment stated that a transit ambassador maybe didn't make the best decision in a moment where an individual didn't have their fare, it should be flexible. These people are trained by this organization to be excellent, to be responsible. They should be able to make calls that flex the policy so that if a bike is on board or a stroller, it can't be folded because someone can't carry their child at the moment. They should get some grace in that moment. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Fairmars Nabavi.
Thank you. I have three things. First, I also want to thank Board Member Roger Dickinson for the question about the strategic plan. It's important that the public be able to understand clearly what the district is sharing. I'm a transit rider who also rides a bike. And about a year ago, I was here before you at the board meeting, and I suggested the possibility, at least for the future deliveries of the new low-floor trains, to remove the individual seats next to the articulated section, the part that bends, so that there can be room either for a hook for a bike or for a stroller or whatnot, because the current layout of the low-floor trains limits the amount of space and egress for ADA passengers versus bikes versus strollers. It's something that can be done. Siemens, the manufacturer of our light rail vehicles, does that for other transit agencies. And I know directors Bobby Singallen and Director Patrick Hume are on the board of the San Joaquin JPA, which is receiving new Siemens Venture cars that have new hooks. They're not like the old SAC RT high floor train hooks that are fairly difficult to use, to be honest. They're real easy to use. I used one yesterday. So it might be possible to put a change order for the remaining deliveries of low floor vehicles so that we don't have this shortage of space, and so that we can do, as the previous speaker said, have more discretion for the transit ambassadors in how they enforce limits on bikes and strollers and whatnot. I did have another item that I wanted to say. I see that I'm out of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Next, that's all the in-room public comment. Next, we have Rick Hodgkins online.
Okay.
Okay, I am also concurring with the previous speakers and with board member council member Director Dickinson. The other thing I wanted to point out is I believe I was just passed over when we were recognizing retirees and people with years of service. I know I raised my hand. I think it was automatically lowered, so here it goes. A lot of these people I might have remember meeting some of these people back in the day, but that the person that which I want to, again, congratulate and say good luck to, I don't know if she was honored this afternoon, and that is Priscilla Vargas. Current ADA compliance officer. She will be retiring from RT September 1st, but she will be playing a role for continuity, particularly that when it comes to all of us on the MAC. So again, Priscilla, if you're still there, or if you're listening, if you were recognized, again, I wish you congratulations and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all the public comment.
Director Kennedy?
Thank you, Chair. I want to start by saying I agree with everything Director Dickinson has to say.
Smart move.
Thank you.
Way to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah. The public knows, or if they don't, that we can't engage upon discussions back and forth on what's been said that wasn't on the agenda. However, with staff, I'd like to, a couple of things. One is with the writer, the member of the public that talked about the customer with the developmental disabilities. That seems like one that we should follow up on and get the specific details of what happened and all of that. I'd also like if staff could follow up with me on that particular issue. I have some ideas in a particular program that's rolling out that I think could work well with RT's mission and working with the developmentally disabled community. Those are my major comments. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so that was item 5, public comment on non-agenda items. Now we are going to go on to 6.1, bus rapid transit efforts.
So for bus rapid transit efforts, we have first a resolution 20260811 adopting the locally preferred alternative for the Stockton Boulevard Safety and Transit Enhancement Project. And then B, information, Green Line irrevocable offers of dedication. And Laura Ham and Anthony Adams are here to present this item.
Good afternoon. I'm Laura Ham. I'm your Senior VP of Planning, Grants, and Procurement. Under new business today, we have 2 items from planning, as Tabitha mentioned. I'll briefly frame both of the items, and then I'll turn it over to our Director of Planning for the detailed presentations. The first item is the Stockton Boulevard Locally Preferred Alternative proposed adoption, and it represents a major milestone for the project, which is also known as STEP. The recommended alternative represents 2 years of technical analysis and extensive community engagement along our highest ridership bus corridor, Route 51. We'll walk you through why we are recommending this alignment, looking at its strong ridership potential, lower operating costs, and the meaningful equity benefits it provides. Adoption of the LPA will allow us to advance into environmental review and preliminary design, both of which are already funded and ready to proceed. It'll also allow us to apply for grant funding for final design and for construction of the project. The second item provides the follow-up you requested regarding the Green Line and the status of irrevocable offers of dedication, or IODs, at our last meeting. So also at the July meeting, several directors reaffirmed that light rail is the preferred long-term vision for the corridor, even as we acknowledge the challenges of delivering it without a dedicated local measure for the project. Today's update will outline a phased approach that preserves the right-of-way dedicated to the project, protects that long-term vision, but provides a practical path for high-capacity transit in the interim. It will be a rail-ready BRT first strategy that we'll present to you tonight. And with that overview, I'd like to bring up our Director of Planning, Anthony Adams. He's going to present the analysis, the project details, and recommended action. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Chair Singh-Allen, members of the board, Anthony Adams, Director of Planning for Regional Transit. I'm here to talk about the Stockton Boulevard Safety and Transit Enhancement Project, better known as STEP. It is a mouthful. It's basically a complete streets corridor along Stockton Boulevard, and we're going to be talking about the bus rapid transit elements of that particular project. So the Stockton Boulevard corridor has been studied extensively over the past 10 years. Lots of outreach done, lots of community pop-up events, and also engagement as well. As part of this particular event for bus rapid transit, we have not only a transit advisory committee, but also a business advisory committee. We did pop-up events and also focus groups as well. So everything we're going to be presenting today, we did the analysis, we went to our community groups and asked them if this was the preferred alternative for them, and they agreed along the way as well. So all this analysis we did has been shared with the public. We have a few goals that we're going to be evaluating this on. Safety is number one. We want to make sure we have good multimodal infrastructure as well. Transit enhancements, but really what's most important to us is delivering a fiscally responsible project, one that we could actually operate, one that we could deliver in the near term. So there are some core design elements that we're going to discuss here. these are the things that decide on what kind of BRT we're going to have, so then we can decide the alignment as well. So a few elements we're going to be discussing is center running versus side running, the level of boarding. Do you have to step up basically to get to the vehicle? Stop consolidation, how many stops we're going to remove, where TSP is going to be, if we're going to increase frequency, and also the off-street terminal we're going to provide at Floor and Town Center. There's a few design decisions we're not going to make right now. It's going to be during the next phase. That's going to be where the bus lanes are, how often we use them, also where those stations are going to be, how big they are, and finally what the branding is going to be for this. Is there going to be a cool name for it? Maybe the South City Connector? So one of the things we're going to be discussing is center running versus side running lanes. You've probably seen center running bus lanes in San Francisco. A lot of BRTs in Seattle use side running. In fact, 75% of all BRTs in the United States are side running bus lanes. So there's a few things we looked at. Center running bus lanes are generally for routes exceeding 10,000 riders a day. So kind of what our blue line would be. Side running is generally between 2,000 and 10,000 riders per day. There's some advantages for center running. It's much faster travel times. You're exclusive bus only. You are faster than a car. Side running, it's cheaper to do. It requires less right away, and you're able to use different buses as well on that particular station. Disadvantages for center running, it's expensive, needs more right away. It conflicts with left-hand turn lanes and some other things as well. Disadvantages of the side running, it's not as fast as the center running might be. We did have our basis of design conclude that a side-running bus rapid transit would be preferable. There's a few key reasons for this. Number one, the ridership projections really do not justify center running. It costs much more. And also, because of the right-of-way of this corridor, if we were to do center running, we would have to buy new right-of-way along the sides in order to facilitate the construction. That would cost much more money and result in higher constructability. We want to make sure we can get this project done in the near term. We also looked at transit signal priority. We've identified 60 different locations throughout the city of Sacramento where we're going to be coordinating with the city to install bus rapid transit. The idea here is if you're coming up to a green light, it's going to extend it. If you're coming up to a red light, it's going to get that shorter. So hopefully we're going to have buses faster than vehicles along this corridor. So this is like the level of boarding that we looked at. A normal bus now, if you go up to a bus stop, you have to step up the stairs in order to get to a bus. What we have at light rail now is something called near level boarding, where you have a plate come out, so ADA can still roll on and off. And then there's level boarding. If you guys have ever been to the BRT in Mexico City, for instance, or even BART, it's kind of like that, right? You just roll right on and off. The issue is you have to have special buses. Not every bus can use that station, and also you can see how close it gets. It's very tough to do to get that level boarding. There's some advantages. It's a lot easier for passengers, especially with strollers, roll on and off. It's faster. The disadvantage, it's very expensive. It creates lots of right-of-way needs as well. And on this particular corridor, if we were to do level boarding, we would have to buy right-of-way to facilitate that level boarding as well. So we have recommended for our basis of design a near level boarding. It is faster. You don't have to go up the stairs. You just have to deploy the ramp. It's ADA accessible as well. It also does not require additional right-of-way. And a key component to this, all these stations that we're going to be building along Stockton Boulevard, they can be used by any bus. It won't have to be a special bus to use it, so we have interoperability along the line as well. We're also going to have these great local stations with neighborhood level art elements. So these stations could be dependent on what the ridership's going to be and what the need and funding is, but we want to have local flair to this. So a little Saigon station, an Oak Park station, so it can be community-derived artwork and also, really reflect the values of the community. We're also going to be doing stop consolidation. We're going to move about 25% of our stops and going to save 4 minutes travel time over the length of this corridor. I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail here. This is to show that we will be improving the span of service. So if you look at just the very top line for weekdays, we stop today at 10:30 p.m. If folks are working in the restaurants, you generally get out at 10 or 11. You might be missing your bus. So we're going to extend that to midnight. That's the standard with BRT. So help late night workers get home and not be left walking or taking an Uber. And finally, at the bottom of this, we are proposing a mobility hub at Floor and Town Center. Floor and Town Center, there's some opportunity for development there now, and it would create a new mobility hub, provide en-route zero-emission charging, and also give our operators a great needed location for a break. So those are all the basis of design recommendations that we're making. The next step is the alternative route that we're going to be selecting here. So there's two of them. One is Route 51. It's our highest corridor route. Ridership route has been mentioned before. And also another one. This is a Route 51, Route 38 hybrid. So Route 38, the difference is Route 38 continues on Stockton Boulevard, goes past the Aggie Center, and then goes near downtown as well. So we looked with those evaluation criteria that we mentioned at the beginning of this. And there's basically 4 main topics that we looked at: mobility improvements, costs, economic development, and community benefits. And I'll go through each of these individually. First one, ridership. Daily ridership forecast for Route 51 is 4,700. We get about 2,500 today. For Route 51 38 alignment, it's only 3,900, so 4,700 is better. The end-to-end travel time is very similar. Potential bus lanes, Route 38 has a higher percentage for bus lanes, so potentially the bus could move faster along that alignment. Total capital costs, they're about the same, 110. Now this increase in O&M is the real driver here. Even with improvements to the service and quality for our patrons, we are going to see negligible to zero increase in costs. Because we're going to have TSP, because we're going to have stop consolidation, all the savings we get in time there, we can plow back in to frequency improvements and span of service improvements. Cost effectiveness is also increased on the Route 51. That gets the check mark. For economic development, Route 38 does have a higher employment. That's actually because Aggie Square, it would be going by. I do want to mention, Route 51, whenever we make that left on Broadway, it's 1/4 mile away from Aggie Square. So even if we make that left and stay on Route 51, folks who are going to Aggie Square would only have a 5-minute walk to work. Lastly, community benefits. Route 51 currently goes along Broadway. Few DACs there. Those folks are transit dependent. It's our highest ridership corridor, and as such, they were helping to drive the community benefits and ultimately the ridership as well. So we are recommending Route 51 as our preferred alternative. It's the highest route forecast. It serves existing locations, nominal change in O&M, and similar capital costs to the previous alignment. So what are you getting out of this? A 67% increase in ridership with 0 operational cost increases. So why would somebody want to take that bus now or when they're not taking it yesterday? What are we going to do? What's going to be different? This new BRT is going to be faster, more reliable, and less stopping at red lights. So one of the worst things that people could do is sit on that bus when they know that they could have got to their work faster in a car. They want the bus rapid transit to be comparative to an automobile, and that's what this is going to do. Right now at our light rail stations, we have cameras, we have the voice of God, and we have security personnel. This bus rapid transit stations are going to have the same equipment as well, so you will feel safe riding this. And we're going to have specialized branding, so you know that's going to be your bus rapid transit. You know where it's going to go, and it's going to be reliable. We are investing in our highest ridership route. And finally, we have a flexible basis of design. We are recommending bus lanes, but those could be peak hour only. We can use some all day, maybe some we use only when the ridership grows. So all of these things are iterative. We can build this into a gold standard BRT or as the ridership demands it to be and the funding that we have. And finally, the last thing I want to bring up, we are not precluding. We do have to talk to our union members here, but we want to consider it. We are considering autonomous operations for this particular BRT. It's not something we're recommending necessarily, but as part of the next design phase, we want to make sure we do not preclude it. So if the technology comes to bear and we have a path forward with it, we want to make sure it's an option. As was mentioned, we do have money for the environmental. That will start immediately after this alternatives analysis is hopefully approved. We're also seeking design from SACOG for design. So hopefully if any of you folks are on the SACOG board, you can help vote for that award. And we hope to begin construction in 2030. We do have a funding plan here. We're hoping to get all of this with state-only money. We do not have to go to the FTA region to seek funding for this. And the recommended action is to adopt the LPA as described in the staff report. And I'll open the floor to any questions. Thanks.
Anthony, I just want to emphasize this is a result of a group partners, City of Sac County, the local partners, and SAC-RT. The whole work has been conducted by, or actually needed by, the lead agency is City of Sacramento. And all the community outreach efforts, whatever all these type of efforts have been led by the City of Sacramento. That is the normal practices because locally preferred alternative supposed to be decided by the local partner or agency or communities. So when Anthony presents way, it virtually is a teamwork and led by City of Sac. And we ask the board to approve today, then next City of Sac Council meeting will approve afterwards, then county Board of Supervisors will be asked to approve this. So I just wanted to get this concept out.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that excellent presentation. At this time, I'm opening it up for director questions. Director Cerna had asked.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Anthony, for the presentation. A couple questions. The side lane versus center lane opportunity. Are they mutually exclusive? Can you have a route, like the staff preferred route's 51, but along that route, can you have a mix?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there'll be some kind of analysis, maybe it's already been conducted where, as you stated, because of the challenge of acquisition for side lane, is there analysis thus far that kind of informs where we can go center and then go back to the side, so as to minimize acquisition costs? And then the second question I have, it's also a funding question, is, as Henry just mentioned, there's a schedule now of the city and county actions that would follow tonight's action. But what about UC Davis? Is there? I noticed some asterisks on some of the slides about presuming funding availability. So that's telling me and the board that there's still some question about funding for this. Has there been a concerted effort to approach UC Davis as a funding partner, since they're going to obviously find a great deal of benefit if their employees and those that they're serving are able to get to and from their destinations much more efficiently? So those two questions.
We have been engaging Aggie Square UC Davis. They're part of our business advisory committee as well. So from the beginning, we've engaged them. Along the way and towards the end, we have recommended this preferred alternative to them as well. And we did try to highlight that it was within a quarter mile of their particular facility as well. So we have worked with them. To date, we haven't talked about funding. And the funding I think that was alluded to was more on the construction side, not necessarily for the operation side. We do believe with the operation funding that we have now, we would be able to run the BRT at BRT standards. So it's only capital funding that we would be seeking.
And then in terms of the side lane, center lane question, has staff concluded that it's all going to be side lane, or is it going to be a mix?
We did segment level analysis, because there are different portions that have 4 lanes in each direction, or 2 lanes in each direction, 4 lanes total, and then even just 1 lane in each direction. So we looked at right away by segment. And there might be 1 or 2 small opportunities to do center running, but the issue with going back and forth and the disruptions in that, it would only be a block or 2 that we'd be able to do the center running. It wasn't cost effective for us to recommend that at this time.
And I assume staff was looking at center running only in those locations where you had
available right away.
Available width?
Yes, sir.
To do so. And obviously that, I assume, for the center running alternative comes at the cost of eliminating or disrupting center turn lanes for everyone else, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And if you do center running, you have to do like left-hand doors on your bus, so you have to buy a special bus. There's a whole cadre of issues involved in center running as well that would not allow you to do interoperability with the rest of your fleet. So if we didn't have light rail, for instance, and this was like our alternative to that, that's when you see a lot of the center running, is when folks don't have this. So this is more of a enhancement of a bus rather than towards a light rail light.
Vehicles, we'd expect all the vehicles to be articulated?
That is going to be a decision that we make in the future. We have been talking to our operations and fleet staff that we have the capacity to facilitate that at SAC-RT, but we haven't prepared for it, as it were. Like, we don't have a maintenance bay that facilitates 60-foot, so it's something that we're planning for it, but we're not yet ready to make that. It's something that we could start with 40-foot buses and then move to 60-foot as funding comes. We like the idea of staff for a 60-foot articulated bus if that's what everyone else chooses.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Director Cerna. Director Kennedy?
Thank you. In addition to the good ideas of Supervisor Cerna, and as far as taking a look at where we can maybe do both, I just want to make the comment that I credit RT staff and the public, for working together, coming up with this particular alternative. I think it is the best alternative. When I talk to people out in the public, and I explain the two, most people don't care that much one way or the other, but because it doesn't deviate that much. But the cost difference is so significant, the other just doesn't make sense. Also, just by nature of what BRT is that, we want to remain as flexible as we can and be able to change to different changing circumstances and ridership and all of that. And I think this allows us to do that. And by going with the most cost-effective and most efficient and most accommodating route, we also don't let, perfect be the enemy of the good here. And, I'm getting tired of talking about this, and I really want to see something roll out here soon. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Director Dickinson.
Thanks, yeah, soon. It's a relative term. I just wanted to confirm that the action this evening that we're taking is the alignment only. It's not the nature or extent of the stops or any of the other elements that are associated with.
It'd be the limits, the route, and the mode, and the operating style.
But you covered a number of different
Yes, sir.
items.
So the things like the basis of design, all of those things would be part of the LPA and the alignment.
So for example, you talked about, let's just call them enhanced bus stops.
Yes, sir.
Are you considering that part of what we're?
No, sir. I apologize. Those are in the design phase.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so which is separate and yet
Yes, sir.
to come. Thank you. I certainly agree with the comments made to this point, but I would just try to underscore that doing this at the outset as inexpensively as possible should be the goal, because that's what's going to make it more able to be actually realized, I think. And so, just to stay with this bus stop idea, I don't know that you need enhanced bus stops. You need a bus stop. And things that may be nice in the future, may be nice now, but raise the cost of the project, I think are something to really scrutinize carefully at the outset. And I'll just use this historical reference. When we built light rail at the beginning here, 60% of the line was single track. Did the engineers all want double track? You're damn right they wanted double track. We didn't have the money to do it. So we made it work, and it worked pretty darn well for a long time. You can do things that work that perhaps aren't your ultimate goal. And I think that's something to keep in mind to get to what I know Supervisor Kennedy, Councilmember Maple, some of us who've been looking at this project for 20 years would love to see, which is BRT actually operating on Stockton Boulevard. Thanks.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to echo what several directors mentioned. Our goal is trying to move this as faster as possible and as efficiently as possible, means cheap cost. To make this move as fast as possible, we intentionally tried out to apply for federal funding, because the NEPA process will be very lengthy. And as cheap as possible, that's why we talk about side boarding, near boarding, those type of stuff. So that is something we want to make this happen quickly. We don't want to delay that, make lots of fancy features, whatever, and that takes much longer time.
Thank you. Were there other additional director questions? Director Borba?
Mine's not that hard. So I had a quick question about the time. You're changing the timing. Is that something that you did? I'm sure you did a study on it.
Yeah, in order to qualify for bus rapid transit category, you have to have 14 hours of service per day. I'm looking at my transit service manager. So right now we have 12 and we needed to have 14. So that's why we're increasing the span of service. It's like a guideline from the feds in order to qualify for BRT.
Well, and I don't know the ridership here and what the demand is, but you did mention like restaurant workers working late. One of the things that we get in Folsom is that RT closes at a certain time, they can't catch that last bus. But I was curious about, like Saturday, having it only open till, or available till 11:15 at night versus 12 a.m. for Friday night. I would assume those restaurant workers, bar keeps, whatever, would be out later. I'm wondering what your study showed on that. And
I'm going to turn it over to James Drake, our Senior Service Planning Manager, to answer that. Thanks.
Just on the span of service, it's you're required to do 14 hours where you have frequent 15-minute headways. So we'd be having frequent headways later into the evening. The later service toward the end of the night, like to midnight, that's actually discretionary. It's not part of getting federal funding or anything like that. But we said we should make the standards more like our light rail, where it has the schedule is basically comparable to light rail. We said, let's design it like that, let's cost it like that. And I have to apologize on the follow-up question. I might have missed what the follow-up question was on the, but yeah, okay.
Thank you.
oh yeah, so I would assume Friday would be very similar to Saturday as far as timing, but that's something that.
And as was mentioned, it's discretionary, so it's something that we could look at as the need.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Other director questions? All right, seeing none, we'll turn it over to public comment now.
Okay, Dan Allison, then Helen O'Connell, Michael Bevins, Jeffrey Tardigia, and Faramars Nabavi.
Good afternoon, Dan Allison. I participated in the stakeholder group and also went to public meetings on this, and the implication that the public was clearly in favor of this alignment is simply not true. The public was like, we don't know. They both have advantages and disadvantages, and I still feel that way even after having looked at it in detail. So I'm not here to argue that the wrong LPA decision was made, but just to raise some questions. The additional cost for the hybrid for bus service seems not exactly justified. That the western part of the routes is just a swap. Are we increasing service on Broadway to compensate? Maybe, and maybe there is a cost, but what's presented doesn't justify that. In the stakeholder groups, and I presume in the business group as well, Aggie Square UC Davis Medical Center was a part of that, and they really wanted to see BRT continue on Stockton to serve their employees and, to some degree, the public. And I don't see that showing up in the report here. The strong preference they had to do the hybrid route, and they wanted to be a partner in this. They didn't make any promises about funding, but they said, we're on board with this. We want to see BRT come past and through our facility. That doesn't show up in this report. And a sort of unrelated thing, sorry. Thank you. 7th and 8th Street have way excess capacity, and they could have red bus-only lanes on them because they don't need that vehicle capacity. That's the part where it goes north into downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Helen O'Connell.
Good evening, Board. I think if we go from Stockton Boulevard down Broadway, the city has already approved and has already implemented many upgrades to Broadway, and they're not quite done yet. It's going to continue on past Stockton Boulevard. I think it would be duplicative service. I live on that route. I use it at least 8 times a day. I think the best would be to do the 51E route that used to be in existence, that went from Florin Town Center all the way downtown, straight down Broadway, straight down Stockton. That would increase the availability for people to get off at Broadway and Stockton, hop the BRT, and go to the hospital, go to different things that are very difficult to get to otherwise. I believe the 38 is the only other bus that even gets close to the hospital. There are other transportations that you can pick up on Stockton Boulevard to go through the UC Davis campuses, but to my best knowledge, I would hate to tear up the brand new Broadway upgrades just to get another bus when it's already duplicate service. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Michael Bevins.
Hello again, board. I'm a wannabe designer, and I'm looking at the plans here, and you can have both. You can run the center line and the right lane, like Mr. Cerna was bringing up and Mr. Kennedy. You can do both effectively. The secret is the signal priority. If you travel in the left lane, a full-on bus, you don't even have to have the red paint, a dedicated lane. You get to the intersection, the smart intersection is going to stop the traffic on the right, the local turning traffic on the right lane, and the bus is simply going to turn into the existing bus stop as is, and the traffic behind it in the left lane can keep going. Once the bus is loaded up, it's got to turn into traffic. You can either use the signal or just wait for a break and then carry on. You can have the best of both worlds. You don't have to have center lane only or right lane. You can mix them. You probably mix them all the time. You can have the bus stops at every major intersection. Maybe not a lot of bus stops, but it's a bus rapid transit, so you don't want that many bus stops anyway. Anyway, that's one design I think you should be considered. If the signal priority is going to be there, and that we want to replicate this idea, if it works well, other places in the city, I suggest maybe we get more where there's multiple buses on a route, so that's really bus rapid transit and a new spine, or if you want to take this 51, have local service on this same route that maybe just stays in the right lane all the time for people who might be from block to block and maybe in the neighborhood. But anyway, my suggestion is keep the best of both worlds. Center lane, go fast. Right lane, that's where the bus stop is. And signal priority controls it all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeffrey Tartagia.
Jeff Tartagia. Three concerns I would like to bring up. One, for the 51, you've never figured out how to have more than 2 electric wheelchairs in your vehicles, to my knowledge. That, I believe, is an impediment for a number of the aspects you want to do with this route. Second one I will offer is going in the area up with what's going on with the downtown area where the 51 comes down through to get to Broadway. You've got other things going on. Seems to me like not everything has been considered for the city downtown. Enhancements have been made for, as suggested by Dan, of the 7 and 8, and I think it's the 9th Street, but some good things out of there. But I believe that needs to be re-examined again to see how much time is spent to where it is for the rest of the route. The concept for the future for dealing with Florin Mall, so there. But the other side with going on with the intention of the coming up from the south area, the other train, where and does that in any way intersect with these portions? As far as I know, you've not done really much for the 19th Street, and where else is it that you're going to have a possible crossover for either the 38 or the 51? Last thing to remember is what you kind of dealt with the on the 51 and the 7th, where it's closed supposedly when King games are on. Interdirecting there. Don't know what was the outcome of that either, and that's my time.
Thank you.
And Faramars Nabavi.
A few things here. First, I'd like to thank staff for orienting this project towards the STEP acronym, putting safety first, rather than having, a flashy BRT project, as Councilmember Dickinson said. The focus is on safety. And what happens in the design phase will be up to the board's oversight. Making sure that we have protected bike lanes, because there have been several fatalities along this corridor, making sure that we have more shade so transit riders who are walking to bus stops are more comfortable. These are important improvements. I think it's important to distinguish between the alignment and the service. There are practical reasons why an underfunded transit agency might go for service routes that might not be optimal for a lot of riders, like Dan Allison mentioned about not having the 51 go by the hospitals. Well, matching the service levels on Broadway to Stockton Boulevard might be more practical. But in terms of the alignments, this is a really important point for the board to consider. The place in Sacramento County that has the greatest number of riders and the greatest number of buses is the J Street, L Street couplet. Having improvements there will be transformative. Even if it's not part of this project, that is something that should be on the radar of both the board and the staff. So I'd like to make sure that if you do adopt the locally preferred alternative tonight, that we do not forget the need for improvements to those streets in terms of bus rapid transit or bus lanes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Okay, that was the last in-person public comment. Online, we have Rick Hodgkins.
All right, so I support the project. I want to thank staff's thorough presentation on it. I would like to, hopefully one of you guys who presented on this item could come to the MAC, because I also have some ideas for perhaps bus rapid transit in Citrus Heights, particularly going down Sunrise to the Sunrise Light Rail Station, so that we can bring service back to not only the Citrus Heights area along Sunrise Boulevard. The 21 is sufficient enough going to Mather Field, but did you know it takes 45 minutes to get from my house to Mather Field Light Rail Station? And that whereas when we had the 91 going to Sunrise Light Rail Station and to Lewis and Orlando, it didn't take that long, because only one turn was made, and that is through Sunrise Mall, and then we continued down Sunrise. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be part of the project, as the previous speaker stated. It could be another project, but I would, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, and as Councilmember Director Dickinson is aware, I've said this in years past, that if any bus which feeds into light rail should run as frequent as light rail does. And I would agree with allowing buses to run later, particularly if you have people either working in restaurants or maybe that they're working graveyard. So I support this, but I also would like to see very similar things happen for the Sunrise Boulevard corridor from, let's say, the Roseville borderline to Sunrise Light Rail Station. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more online?
We have Margie Donovan.
Margie,
you hear me?
you're up. Yep. Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Chair and board members, thank you for allowing me to speak. In reference to center loading, I urge you to look into issues for people with disabilities, specifically for blind and low vision and for wheelchair users. There are some real serious safety issues And please don't look at San Francisco because they are not a role model in this area. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more online?
That's all the public comment.
All right, before I go on to director comment, just as an FYI, there were two parts to 6.1. So part B, which is just an informational item, will be back at our next meeting. The green line irrevocable offers of dedication. So that was just an information item that will be heard at our next meeting. We're going to continue on with this resolution discussion. Any questions from directors? Looking to the left. Or I'm sorry, comments. We did questions, we didn't do
No,
comments.
I'd like to move the approval of the resolution.
Second.
All right, excellent. We have a motion and approval. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Very
One
good.
abstention.
And one abstention. Thank you. All right, next up, general manager's report.
Good evening, Chair, Board, and the public. I will be very brief. I want to first give a few construction and service updates. Starting this Wednesday, there will be changes to construction activities for the Watt I-80 Transit Center Improvement Project, which is over $50 million capital project. And this change will impact riders who use the upper level bus stops in a positive way. The northbound bus stop on the up level east side will reopen, as well as the northbound stairs and elevator. Jeff mentioned about Watt I-80 station, which is the largest station of our system, and there were lots of issues, especially elevators. And then which required extensive bus bridges. And we were fortunate to get about over $50 million in the last 5 years, and were able to bring this project to almost on the finish line. The temporary bus stop location in front of Wendy's will continue regular service for riders, but is no longer needed as a temporary stop. Please check Sacramento website for additional information on the construction and the route detours. Speaking of stations, we are excited to open the Dos Rails station in the River District. We have tentatively scheduled a ribbon cutting on September 10th, and I hope once we finalize everything, all of you guys, public and our board members, will be able to join these great press conferences. The station was first envisioned decades ago, and again, thankfully, we were able to secure 5 different grants in the last 5 years to make the station a reality. And lots of community partners supported this, worked together with us to make this happen. Then, next slide, please. We also anticipate opening a second new light rail station in a month or so in the rail yards along the Green Line. Work is completed on the station itself. However, the specific reopening of the Green Line depends on completing final train testing. The city and the rail yards developers has been conducting road improvements along 7th Street to better support access to the future station and the soccer stadium. Unfortunately, as the city and the rail yards developers are wrapping up the work, they have experienced a delay in materials, which they need that material for traffic signal controls. And we were expecting to have the reopening like this week or next week, but because of this delay, we probably need to move to the end of next month. If everything proceeds as planned, we expect to run a test train next Monday, which will allow us to finalize the safety certifications and submit them to CPUC to review and accept before permitting the station to open for passenger service. Once SACAT received approval, we will announce the official opening date and begin preparing for the service, and also we'll have a great press conference, ribbon cutting too. This is uniquely important station. This is really the model of the public-private partnership, because the station itself actually has been built by the private partners. We do know, that with station workers return to office, there is a high demand to serve the mainly state office, the office building for the state workers on Richards. You can see that beautiful 2 million square feet office building for the state. We're in the close communication with the state teams such as Cal STA and others about the reopening, and we let them know, we are actually operating extended service on bus route 11. This route actually operates, parallel service to the Green Line. But we will have a meeting later this week with the Cal STA secretary and his leadership team. If they want us to, operate more frequent bus bridges, during the next month, then we can increase that frequency or increase the capacity to get more buses on the bridge. Then I also like to remind the riders that, next slide please. This week we will conduct a station renovation work on the Blue Line. This weekend, Saturday, August 29th and the 30th, Blue Line light rail station will be temporarily suspended between Broadway Station and the Fruitridge Station due to the platform grinding at the 4th Avenue and the City College Station. Only this weekend, and we'll have a robust bus bridge there too. And as you know, last time, we expect about 2 weeks closure on the station near the Broadway and the high school over there, but we were able to complete that about 4 days earlier. So only Monday, closed, then from Tuesday to Friday, we opened for the high school students over there, which was a great, progress. Then the next slide, please. MAC meeting. Last Wednesday, Chair St. Allen and the management team had the privilege of having a meeting with MAC Executive Committee, and on Thursday, I had the pleasure speaking over an hour on the MAC board meeting to answer questions. It's great, intellectually stimulating conversations and some great results, right, Helen? Okay, you're lucky. Yeah. We truly value the ongoing commitment of our MAC members striving to improve our services. We always welcome the chance to listen, hear concerns firsthand, and continue to build a stronger and stronger partnership. Our goal is not just simply to come to meetings and provide updates. We want to have honest discussions and work together, find some effective solutions to address concerns, to meet, and lots of time to exceed the expectations from our riders and the public. The feedback we received from the MAC board meeting is extremely important, and accessibility is not just a project for us. It is a part of how we operate every day. It's extremely important business for us, and that commitment starts with leadership. Our chair, was able to join the MAC team, the MAC executive committee, and we heard lots of great suggestions, and Helen chipped in lots of great suggestions. Then, just want to reminding everybody, September is a rail safety month. Say tracks, think trains. This is September the whole month. We're going to do that, but we want to remind everybody, this is every day of the whole year, not just this month. The message is very simple. Like I said, say tracks, think trains. Crossing gates are there to protect everyone, whether you are driving, walking, or biking. It is critical to follow all rail safety rules. Never go around lowered or closed gates. Wait until they're fully raised. 99% of incidents occurred is due to people try to manipulate the closed gates or arms. Always stay alert. Light rail trains can approach from either direction and are much quieter than you might expect. Sometimes you really did not really expect that. Also remember the stopping distance for a train to fully stop need up to 600 feet, which is almost 2 football fields, 600 feet. The risks are real. Ignoring crossing signals or trespassing on tracks can lead to costly fines and far worse, loss of life. Help keep our community safe by taking rail safety seriously, please. Then to conclude my report, on a positive note, I'm very excited to share that our procurement team was recently recognized with the prestigious 2026 National Procurement Institute Achievement of Excellence Award. This award recognizes organizational excellence in public procurement through a rigorous evaluation of innovation, professionalism, productivity, leadership, and e-procurement practices. So please join me in congratulating our procurement team, led by our procurement director, Julia Terry. Julia, are you there? And Julia is retiring by the end of this month, right? Yeah, I mean, after 27 years. Remarkable service. Thank you. With that, I'm finished with my report. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Henry. Any questions from directors on Henry's report? Looking to the right, looking to the left, seeing none. Public comment?
There's no public comment.
Online?
Rick Hodgkins.
Thank you. I just wanted to congratulate. I just wanted to thank Henry for meeting with me for a lunch meeting last Thursday, along with the rest of the management team. I am just grateful that not only did he come to the MAC, but I believe he and I met with the rest of the management team before the MAC meeting. I suggested that we ought to advertise RT and our funding campaigns on our buses and light rail trains. So rather than having other businesses advertise with RT, why don't we advertise on our buses and trains saying that we need more public support and a local measure? So that's all I'm going to say. I will leave it at that. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Any more public comments?
There's no more public comment.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Henry. Thank you, Helen. I think the MAC community meeting was very productive. And some of the takeaways, I want to recognize all the great work that RT does. It's not just being ADA compliant, it's making sure that we talk to our partners and strive to be better. And accessibility, mobility is a human right. So thank you for the partnership and thanking all of you for your participation. All right, so our next item, what do we got? Anything you want to report, Director Budge, on the Sacramento-Placerville Transit Corridor Joint Powers Authority meeting summary?
No, thank you. You have the summary.
All right, and we also have the Mobility Advisory Council meeting minutes. Any questions on any of those items? Seeing none. Any public comments on these items?
There's no public comment on either in room or online.
Excellent. Then I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Just a reminder, the next Sacramento Regional Transit Board meeting is scheduled for September 28th, 2026 at 4 p.m. Have a good evening, everyone.